One investor pointed out that Splatoon is selling very well and asked Nintendo about the issues that they face in creating more new IP. Kamishima replied that creating new IP one after another does not yield good results, and Nintendo has to make sure that the new IP always do something original. Shinya Takahashi, the general manager of Nintendo EPD, those guys are the division they created in September when they merged their two big teams, he added that Splatoon was created by gathering the power of Nintendo's younger development staff, which Kamishima said is something that they're trying to promote within the company. Takahashi also pointed out that Nintendo has to focus on keeping old IP popular with younger audiences, and their mobile venture is an important step in doing that.
I'm gonna question the wisdom that creating new IP one after another does not yield good results, because on the one hand, Nintendo was kicking with NES, and pretty much everything on NES was a new IP, except for Mario. And second of all, we're seeing the pattern of new IP doing rather well on new platforms, even today with PlayStation 4 and Xbox. Sure, the old mainstays are still like the king, I would say.
Yeah, Fallout, GTA, of course, Halo.
But Destiny and Bloodborne and games like that are really establishing a strong foothold and really, in some ways, defining this generation. So I question the wisdom. I think they would be doing better if they were more invested in creating new IP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in Nintendo's mind, it's kind of a situation where they believe they have to build up a larger audience with their core established IP before they can really, branch out into new things. They kind of feel like they're not hitting their bread and butter well enough, and they can't move on to something new until they do that.
They can't add the cinnamon sugar on top.
Yeah, exactly. But, like you said, Alex, I don't know if that's necessarily true. We've seen other new IP do very well, and Splatoon is obviously doing extremely well. Already about 1 out of every 4 Wii U owners owns Splatoon. So I understand the concern on Nintendo's part, but I think they could be a little more proactive in creating new franchises.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're coming towards this with the attitude that new IP is best when it's inspired by a new idea, and that is how, every element of the aesthetics and the attitudes of the characters and who they are, the worlds they're in, that all ties together at the heart of the game, which is the gameplay. And if there's any sort of dissonance between those elements, then that hurts the brand value of the IP, or at least the quality of the IP, whether or not the brand is strong. And so I think they're looking at that and saying, we really need to build new IP out of new game ideas so that those IP are as strong as they can possibly be. Whereas I respect that a lot. I disagree with it because, Alex, a great point that you brought up was Destiny, which is another shooter. Like, there's not really a lot that it does differently.
It's got like
else.
1 or 2 novelties that it kind of revolves around, but mechanically, it's very much a shooter.
Yeah. And those novelties are not significant enough that it really sort of defines the game and defines why people were so excited about it in the first place. Mostly I think it was a big budget, new IP. It was well marketed. People got excited for it. It was just the buildup of hype around it. So, and of course, Destiny is another good example because famously a lot of people were disappointed by it. So, you don't necessarily need a strong, completely unified idea that is sort of the perfection in every possible way in order to put out a new IP that's good and strong and gets people interested and can foster sequels and profits.
Right.
And in addition to all of that, I love Nintendo's plan to try to familiarize their classic IP people. Their classic IP coming next from Apple.
Oh God!
Trying to promote their classic IP through mobile games. That's something I've been saying they should do for years. Mm-hmm. But in addition, there's also I think that's geared mostly towards attracting young gamers who didn't grow up with Mario and Link and Donkey Kong and so on. But I think you also have plenty of old gamers who could still be Nintendo fans, but that just aren't that excited about Mario anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think that creating new IP that can excite those classic Nintendo fans who maybe aren't in the fold anymore. Right. I think that's important too.
Hello everybody, thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week clip, NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.